Okay, so my energy is completely gone because I was watching something and that was. Can anyone tell me why there has always been a substitute for the female lead of the very successful franchise? This jumped into my mind while I watched the trailer of it. Whatever, let's now roll into the movie. After the successful run into the theaters, the second installment of the 2018 release movie Raid finally hits the theaters. The paragon in Indian Revenue Service, Amar Patnaik's raid journey travelled to Rajasthan with his 75th transfer to Dada Manohar Bhai, a man with immense political and public power. As for the stature this time, the challenges were also doubled than the previous one, and with that, what's the result of the raid forms the basic narrative of Rajkumar Gupta directed, Ajay Devgn, Riteish Deshmukh and Vani Kapoor led investigative thriller Raid 2. I'll be discussing the good, the bad and the verdict in this video so you can make an informed decision whether this movie deserves your theatre visit or not. First, the good portions of this movie. The underlying narrative. This sounds so grand that a government officer will be hand in hand with a political leader. The subject is so humongous, which basically showcased as a challenge, which is depicted here brilliantly. The continuous cat and mouse chase between these two was finely executed. As the characters were established along with their individual strong background story, I, as an audience, genuinely attached to their roots, which were equally strong from both ends, and that makes an intense thriller. The scenes were equally well designed. When one gets weakened, then the other attacks immediately, and this goes throughout the second half. The power dynamics have been showcased here beautifully. The subtle threat in the dialogues without completely meaning it, and the positions of each other in every situation were portrayed here through dialogues, which were absolutely amazing to watch. The human emotions, especially Ritesh's character, are portrayed here finely. The makers tried to root him with his mother, as they had in the previous film, but here it was too strong to neglect. The climax scene makes it more stronger. Ajay Devgn is playing the same character in most of his movies from Drishyam with the same look, but I don't know how that doesn't seem mundane to me at least. He has some power to convince us, audiences, into his character very well without any complaint on that. But the show stealer for me will be Riteish Deshmukh as Dada Bhai. This man just nailed it in here. The industry couldn't explore Riteish properly and didn't use the potential of him as someone once did in Egg Villain. Especially in the second half, how this character excels was absolutely reckoning. This man's negative shades are too intense to handle. The characters from the first installment were mostly used here as a banter, where the Lallan's character played by Amit Sial was equally impactful here as the first one. But my problem is with Saurav Shukla's character, Rameshwar Singh. The character hasn't fit into the screenplay enough that it breaks the flow. That was a desperate attempt to include the character here without any proper position. With this, the portions that didn't go well enough, for me at least in this movie, first will be the music. I'm not saying these were bad, but if I'm comparing them with the 2018 film, then yes, those were lyrical gold. The background scores only elevated the scenes in the climax, which was from the first installment, the Black Jama Hai song, which has been used here as a background. So other than that, nothing was very experimental in this movie. Also, the character introductions were not so intriguing. Those were very rapidly executed and don't service the aura of the characters as it was in the first one. Look, I know I'm comparing it to the first one because I'll be helpless here if I'm not. It's a continuation story, so the charm has to be the same or more to give the same experience. The 2018 Raid is still vivid in my memory, and thank God the makers didn't replicate the same template here. which was appreciable to be honest. But the moment that was created in the first film was more rooted. Remember when Amay's character locked himself in the room full of black property with the music Jhukna Paunga in the background? Just look at that scene. How much depth the makers did put in that scene. I feel the movie somehow lost its soul in the preparation, but it was entertaining enough to hold. Maybe I'm a bit retrograde here or overthinking, but this is the video. What are your thoughts on this? If you have watched it, please let me know in the comments. I thought that I would be watching Raid, Hit and Retro today all together, but मेरे इलाके के थिएटर्स ने अपनी औकात दिखा दी. I don't know when I'll be able to watch the other two films that I was highly anticipated of. I also have made a thumbnail for today, but let it sink in the draft. Thank you so much for watching. See you at the point of view.